What is going on, beautiful people? Welcome into the Right State of Mind podcast. Back with another week. It's your boy Charlie, ready to go for another week, man. I am excited to get this thing started and excited for you all joining. If you've already been here before and you're back, I appreciate the love and support, man. I appreciate the love and support. It goes a long way. And if you are new here, thank you for being here. If you don't know, my name is Charlie. I'm a therapist here in Charlotte, North Carolina area. And this podcast is the Right State of Mind podcast, mental health podcast, kind of help the people get them going, man. And like I said before, appreciate all the love and support. Today, I'm excited. I think this is probably the most eager is the best word I can think of right now. This is probably the most eager I've been to do an episode just because of my genuine curiosity as well. Like, I'm very curious about, what this guest that I'm bringing on is going to talk about and share their side, share their story. I want to know as well. I'm excited. So today I am bringing on a friend of mine, Mr. Tommy Hornbuckle. He's a friend and also a comedian here in the Charlotte, North Carolina area. So we're going to be tapping into the link between mental health and comedy these days. And the reason I'm so excited is because I know I'll probably say it to him too, but just, we hear about all the stories about comedians that struggle with mental health issues that are behind the scenes because we as the viewing audience, all we see is the stage presence, like what they do on stage, what they say about this and that. So I'm curious to hear what he has to say behind the scenes and some of his experiences. So, hey, man, I'm super excited to get him on here, and we will do that right after this break, man. But before we get anything started, I need y'all to do me a favor. Go ahead and hit the subscribe button if you haven't already. Hit the subscribe button wherever you get your podcast. Wherever you listen, it's on there. Hit the subscribe button. Leave me a 5-star rating. Leave me a review. Social media, big one as well. Right State of Mind Pod, all lowercase, on all socials. TikTok, Instagram. Even got a YouTube channel now. YouTube channel. Hit me up. Show the love and support, man. I appreciate it. Like I said, all the social media accounts. Share the content. Do all the things. Go crazy, as they say. Hey, man, but I don't want to prolong this because I'm excited as well. So after you do all that I just stated, hang tight, and then I'm going to bring my boy on. So without any further ado, man, hang tight. I'm about to bring my guy on. All right, beautiful people. Hey, as I promised, I got my boy on, the one and only Tommy Hornbuckle. What's up, my man?
Not a lot, Charlie. How you doing, man?
I'm doing well, man. I told the people a minute ago before I brought you on, man. I'm excited. I think I'm not trying to gas you up. I'm not trying to lie. I told people, I said, I think this is the most eager / curious I've been doing an episode. I mean that. Like, I am very curious for this one.
I'm curious too, because I'm like, all right, it's not like a comedy podcast. I've done a couple like radio spots that aren't necessarily comedy leading either.
Right.
So I go in just kind of like, I'm not really sure. Like, you take one step at a time and see how it goes.
Right, for sure. And I was like, if anybody knows me, they've seen me with this hat on before. But I was like, this hat is perfect for this episode. Upside down smiley face, because you get the comedy side and the mental health side. But yeah, I'm curious, man. But if you want, real quick, for the people who are listening to this for the first time, you mind introducing yourself to the people?
Yeah, definitely. Of course. My name's Tommy Hornbuckle. You can follow me on Instagram at Tommy_Hornbuckle. I'm also on TikTok. I think it's Tommy Comedy _. I'm not on there as much as I should be. That's something I'm trying to get better at. That's something we can talk about for sure. Yeah. Social media presence is big. But yeah, my name's Tommy Hornbuckle. You can find me at Horseshoe, which is the South Carolina bar, and Bill's Bar in South End. And I do an open mic there every other Friday. So if you're feeling risky, you might be able to come sign up, do a couple minutes of comedy. And then also I run a showcase at Hoppin' as well in South End.
Gotcha.
So those are my main shows.
Sounds good, man. Yeah, trust me, I'm right there with you on the social media side. As somebody who doesn't love it, but I know the importance of it, I'm right there with you trying to pump it out. So You got to keep it going. But man, it's good to hear about those spots because I saw you on social media in a couple of those spots, man. I gotta get out to a show and watch one, especially maybe the South Carolina one. So for the people who don't know, that's where I met my guy here. I met Tommy through a friend back in the day, the South Carolina connection. So it's a small world. It's funny to see how things have evolved here. And I
Yeah,
guess
definitely.
that's probably a good place to start because I was thinking about it. And when we first met, I don't even know if this was, I mean, it wasn't like we were sharing life stories or anything, but I don't even know if this was like a vision at the time or a dream. My question is like, when did this all start for you? Like, was this always the goal to be a comedian, or did that something that just started recently?
So it's something that, like, it didn't happen super recently. I always thought about doing it because I'd watch specials growing up with, like, my oldest cousin showed me a Chris Rock special growing up, and I thought that was hilarious. But I didn't like think at that point in time. We're talking like 12 years old. I
Mm.
didn't think, oh, I'm gonna go into comedy or anything like that. And then another cousin of mine, actually, it's pretty funny. It's all my oldest cousins get influencing me into it. But he showed me a Bill Burr special around like 2009, and I was like, oh shit, white dudes can do this too. Like, not really. Like, I knew there was white comedians, but like, I was like, okay, I kind of like this style. But I still didn't start for another probably 10 years after that until about 2019. That's the first time I ever got on stage. I always
Mm.
wrote and I would make like videos for Instagram and stuff like that, but I never, um, I don't know. I just never had the guts to like go up on stage and actually tell my own jokes that I wrote down, because that's like a
Yeah.
whole nother leap. Once you do it a couple times, you get your footing, but at the start, it's a huge leap, and you're so nervous, even with people you don't even know. I didn't tell any of my friends either. The first time I went up on stage, I didn't tell a single person that I was actually going to do it. I was just like, I'm going to go and like secretively do this,
Mm.
and then I'll say how it went later. And everyone was like, "Oh, why didn't you invite us out?" I'm like, "Well, I didn't know how it was gonna go, and it ended up going pretty well, at least for my first time. And then I started inviting people to come out."
Yeah, I understand that because I think, to be honest, the first time I saw you do comedy, I think it was on social media. I think I saw like an Instagram a clip or something, and I was kind of taken aback too because I was like, oh, I didn't know that he did comedy. I was, it was cool because I'm like, I don't know any friends or anybody I know personally that does comedy, and that's why I think I said I'm so curious is because just like probably most people listening to this is just something as like the audience you just see like on TV or if you go to a bar or something like that. I've always been so curious of like what it's like to be that person to do that.
Yeah,
So
you'll
like,
definitely have to come out sometime.
yes,
That's for sure.
if I came, I'm gonna have to sit like somewhere where you can't see me. I want to see the show without you realizing I'm there because it's always that always calling me out on it.
No, no, I wouldn't do that. Well, maybe, but no, I probably wouldn't do that.
I got you, man. So it sounds like your early kind of your early inspirations were like some people that you like, some famous people you knew, maybe some of your family they had something to do with inspiring you to do it.
Yeah, no, definitely. That was a big part of it, was just like watching specials, like when family would get together or something. Usually towards the end of the night after like grandparents go to bed or something like that, like, all right, let's pop on a comedy special that they might not enjoy that much.
Yeah,
And just like really liking that. I grew up watching SNL obviously with everybody else, like Adam Sandler, Chris Rock, Chris Farley, David Spade, those guys, but like getting into stand up happened a little bit later for me.
mhm,
And there weren't like a whole lot of like Netflix specials and stuff like that when we were growing up. Now it seems like everybody has a special on this or a special on that. Now, but at first, like there's only like a couple specials a year. So when one would come up, I would definitely try to check it out.
yeah, for sure. Now the part I'm curious about, man, what was it like your early experiences doing this? Like when you first going from what you just said of like, okay, I like it, I see it on TV, these people kind of inspire me a little bit, to go from that to like, I'm gonna get up there, and you said you had your first one where you didn't even tell your friends, man. I'm curious of how those first couple of moments went. I'm like nervous talking about. I didn't even do the damn
Yeah,
thing, and I'm like,
yeah,
I'd be
no,
nervous as hell.
no. I was the first time. I think I was literally like shaking right before I went up. Like I was confident all day. I'm like, oh, I got this. Had it rehearsed out, and then like as soon as I got like right before it, I got a little nervous. But I was like, it was only 3 minutes. I was like, I just have to remember what I'm saying. It was at the Comedy Zone too, because I used to do open mic over there.
Gotcha.
And so when you get up there, like you really just gotta focus because like their lights are bright and like the room is dark, so you can't see anybody. You think you'll be able to see everybody, but that's
Mm.
only if you go stand up like on the edge of the stage. So yeah, it was nerve wracking, but I remembered my set, which is huge because there's that 8 Mile moment where you get up
Yes.
there and you forget what you're about to say.
Yeah.
I've only had that happen like once or twice, and I'll just go to another bit or something now. Once you have experience, it's okay. But like that first time I got through it, I actually have tape of it that I'll probably never show anybody. But that's maybe other comics, but I like holding that one close to the chest. I have that on my laptop. But yeah, I I don't know. I was super nervous that time, and then the next time, like some of our mutual friends, they came out and they all watched me, and that time I was more nervous because I'm like, okay, now this has implications. Like everyone's gonna be talking about it, which is so funny because at the end of the day, it's like 3 to 5 minutes of time, and to worry what anyone thinks, especially like a couple of people that came out to support me, they're just happy I'm doing it. But as you grow and you meet more and more people and have more people in your crowds and stuff like that, you can't sit there and think like, oh no, what are they gonna think of this or think of that? You just have to go through the motions and make sure you're hitting all your punchlines, setting up the jokes right. You gotta make sure your timing's good. There's a lot of different aspects that I work on to make sure that the show goes right. And but one thing I don't do anymore is worry about a singular set. Because if you worry about a singular set, it's gonna throw off. It's gonna throw you off. You'll be in like a slump, like a baseball player. You'll be Jazz Chisholm at the home run derby, just hitting 2 home runs. So
That was bad.
uh,
That was bad.
that was pretty bad.
Yes. Yes. So those early experiences, I'm curious, like, what was the impact that it had on like your mental health at the time? Like, I'm assuming every early set didn't go exactly the way you probably wanted it to. So, like, what
Yes.
impact did that have?
So my early comedy stage, like, it was interesting because I did it in 2019, going into 2020.
Mm.
So I only did it like 3 or 4 times before COVID hit, and all 3 or 4 times I did pretty well. Like, yeah, I would kick myself because I would have it recorded and I would forget like a line or forget a setup. But um, even when I got down on myself about that one thing, I'm like, the overall show went pretty well. So I might have been too cocky. I don't know. But going into COVID, uh, all the mics shut down obviously for like an entire year, and there wasn't much to do. Um, and then I came back and I was on after COVID. This is where like a little bit of Rocky Road comes in. I started doing open mics with um, some bigger names around Charlotte. Like there's one guy, Tyrone Burston. He's been doing it for I want to say like 13, 14 years. I don't
Mm.
want to misquote myself there, but he had a show going on, and he was like, "You ever done 10 minutes before? You can come do 10 minutes on my show." I had never done 10 minutes. I just lied and I was like, "Yeah, of course I can do that." So I went and did that. The first time went okay, not that well, but that's when I was like, all right, now I have to get like a little bit more serious about this. You can't just fake it till you make it
Right.
because in comedy it's just you and the mic. Like
Mm.
if you're in like a band or something and you miss a note, no one really notices. But
Right.
when you're like stumbling a little bit on stage and it's just you and the mic, that can go poorly pretty quick.
For sure. Do you remember, like, have you had one of those? I'm assuming you did, but I would ask. Did you have one of those early like bomb moments, like where you said a joke in your head it was going to land a certain way, and then maybe it was crickets?
Oh, yeah, no, I've definitely had plenty of those, and those still will happen if you're trying new stuff. Like if you're
Mm.
trying new jokes out, like stuff I wrote like this week, and I'm gonna try next week, and some of it sounds better in your head than when it comes out. Luckily, I'm not like super edgy with my material, so I don't say anything that's like super offensive.
Hmm.
So that I think is like a lot more dangerous. I see a lot of people like, I mean, because I go to open mics. Like open mics, anybody can sign up. It could be a crowd member. Sometimes they sign up and they're like, "Yeah, I want to try it," and you have
Mm.
no idea what's going to happen when you hand them the microphone.
Right.
Like, no clue. But I've definitely had those moments where like, you really bomb or like, oh, a funny one that happened a couple weeks ago. It's on a back patio of a bar, and it was a Saturday night, and you can hear the music from another bar in Plaza Midwood, and like I'm like, all right, I'm gonna make a joke about that once I get up there. I go up, that's my plan to make a joke about the music at the other bar, and right when I'm about to start talking, like 5 motorcycles pull up in the parking lot behind the bar, and they're just revving their engines. So the first minute you can't even hear what I'm saying, so I just like stood there, and
Damn.
then I couldn't find a rhythm. Everything I'm saying was just falling flat on its face. I was like, all right, well, this happens sometimes. Luckily, that happened now and not like when I first started, because I would have killed my confidence.
Yeah. Well, I mean, you kind of just said it. That's what I'm wondering is like, what does that play on a person's psyche to keep going? I mean, you're still obviously doing it, so it didn't make you stop doing it. But how hard is that, I guess, to like it not to go right? And then you pick, like, obviously you got to pick yourself back up and motivate yourself to keep going. I imagine that's pretty hard,
Yeah,
especially if you bomb more than once.
yeah, no, for sure. It like anyone can tell you, like it's crowd dependent as well. So you might think you bombed, but I go in with the mentality of like, all right, if it's an open mic and there's only, let's say, 5 to 10 people there, and then like half of them leave halfway through, and you're up later, you're like, all right, I'm just gonna go up and tell my jokes, get a couple laughs, and that's it. If it's like a bigger room of people and everyone's paying attention, and they're not laughing, that's where that's a real bomb. Like there's a little bit of a difference there.
Mm.
And paid shows, like when people are paying for tickets and coming to the show and actually paying attention, compared to an open mic where there's always people paying attention, but there's it's a free show, so like they're talking with their friends, doing whatever, saying how they could probably do it if they tried. Who
Right.
knows? But when it's paid and everyone's paying attention, that's when you really want to bring out that A material and crush. So I don't know. I'm also, a big part of it is recovery. I don't know if you're gonna ask about that, but basically I had like a 20-minute set out in Belmont, North Carolina,
Mm.
and in the first 2 minutes I wasn't doing too hot, and I was like, damn, I got 18 minutes left of this. So I had to turn it around. I had to whip out like one of the classics that gets a pop, and then start using that momentum to build on.
Yeah. Hey, that's good. I mean, because you can't ever predict the response you're going to get. I can go into something with an expectation of doing this, but it might not go that way, and you got to be quick on your feet. So I guess that makes a lot of sense. I've never thought about it with the thought of like open mic versus you pay for your ticket, because that is different. Like if I was at a bar and I'm just hanging out in this open mic versus if I pay, because if when you pay in the world that we live in now, people who pay, they have an expectation of what they're going to get their money's worth of whatever they're paying for. So I
Right.
can I can see the difference there in that.
Yeah,
So
it's like if there's like dudes playing cornhole at the bar versus if you went down to like Rock Hill and watched the actual cornhole tournament. Like there's a
right,
different level of I care about your little cornhole game. But
exactly.
the fact that you say like I'm hanging out at the bar and then an open mic breaks out, it happens. Like literally when we're setting up our gear and whatnot, I see like what I do. My strategy is I go around to each table and I just let them know like half an hour beforehand, like, hey, we're about to start open mic comedy. If that's what you guys are into, like, I'd really, you know, we always appreciate however many crowd members, want to stick around for that. But if not, I see you guys like you guys got your dinner, you're eating, you're doing your own thing. Like I'm not trying to bug you at all. I'm just letting you know open mic is about to start. Where some people just turn on the microphone, they're like, all right, it's comedy night, and like that can go south pretty quick. Like half the people can leave. So
Yeah, that's a good strategy. Go ahead and introduce yourself a little bit. That's a good strategy. I
yeah,
like it.
I walk down the street and like tell people there's about to be a show. Like I don't know. That's they call it barking, I guess. But
That's what they call it. That's a real thing.
yeah, in comedy, yeah, they call it barking. If you're like going around outside asking people to come in, like comedy show, comedy show.
Hey, you learn something new every day. Barking. I didn't know.
Hell yeah, we got to do it.
We got to do it, man. Listen, you got to work the environment. So I get it for sure. Um, I do want to. I want to switch gears a little bit here, just
Yeah.
because, like I said before, the thing I'm curious about, like, you hear about the big names in the mental health stuff. Like Robin Williams is the first one that comes to mind.
Oh yeah.
Chris Farley, Jim Carrey, who I'm a
Mm-hmm.
big fan of. Like I hear about these different mental health issues that go on with people who do comedy, man. What is your thoughts on that? Is that something that you like that you're aware of? Is like you've seen it with other people, you kind of have experienced anything like that? What's your thoughts on that?
Oh yeah, definitely. I mean, I think every comic, whether you're a paid comic, open micer, or super famous, everyone has like their like mental health issue,
Mhm.
and that's kind of like what draws you to do comedy in the first place. Is kind of like laugh at my pain, right? Like a lot of my jokes are like kind of laugh at me, laugh at this situation. But like there can be like real situations, but if you find the funny in it, that's how you turn it positive. But for
Mhm.
those guys like on a bigger level, like Robin Williams,
Mhm.
I mean that just has to be so much like pressure. I can't even imagine that amount of pressure because just the pressure to put on a show at Hopin or Horseshoe and have it go well. I mean, it definitely can make or break my day. Like if it goes well, I mean, either way, I'll be fine. But if it goes really well, I'm like riding a pretty good high there. Or if like not a lot of people show up, I'm like dang, I wish the show was a little bit better. But one thing that always brings it back up is the comic community
Mhm.
and people that are just like, no, we appreciate stage time at any level. Like it doesn't matter like if it's packed or not. Um, and people are always appreciative of that. And we have a good like supportive community here most of the time.
Mhm.
Sometimes it's not, but a lot of the time it is. I have a lot of friends that do it as well. So we just talk about it, and it's usually all good. So it's really not that big of an issue. But I can't imagine the pressure of like a really famous comedian. That's got to weigh on you a little bit. If you bomb at like an arena or something, I
Mhm.
can't imagine that.
Exactly. It was what we just talked about. Of like, if you have a big arena and people are paying good money, like I said
Right?
earlier, there's expectations that if I'm paying good money for something, there's kind of expectations that come with it. So it's
Yes.
kind of like it's just like you sports. If I
Yeah.
if I pay to see the Panthers, well, maybe that's a bad example. If I if I pay to see a certain team, you kind of expecting a certain outcome. But
Yep.
yeah, I think that's it, and that's the word I was gonna ask you about is like, do you ever feel that like that pressure of like even though you're like kind of starting out, is there still that pressure of like I got to perform here for these people?
Um. Yeah, I'd say it's mostly pressure on myself.
Mm,
Sometimes you'll get on a show with like a producer who's like, "All right, make sure you kill it up there. Like,
mm,
do it this way or do it that." I'm like, "All right," but I put most of the pressure on myself more than anything else. Especially like if I have a show where like a bunch of people I know are coming out, I want to make sure that I am putting on a good show for them. Whether that be me as a comedian on the show or me as a host of the show. I think I do a pretty good job of both. I'm getting better at the hosting part. Hosting is a whole different ball game
yeah.
because in between you just want to make sure the vibes are right, make sure everything's going well, and then you also want to make sure that the comedians are all set and they're in a good mood and they're ready to like put on a good show as well. So no, I definitely take that. I'm trying to like rephrase it, but no, pressure is a good word. It's just like living up to that expectation, I guess.
Yeah.
Um, yeah, so yeah, no, I agree with that. There's definitely a sort of part of that.
So yeah, I think the thing I'm actually really curious about, like we talk about the pressure, and it mostly what we're talking about applies like when you're on the stage.
Yeah.
The question I have for you is like, what about the pressure to like if somebody thinks of you as a comedian, right? Is there a pressure where people think you like you're always supposed to be funny? Like there's no like a human aspect. You kind of like you should be telling jokes all the time.
Yeah, there definitely is. I mean, just in like when someone like finds out you're a comedian, whether it be like a friend,
Mm,
coworker, whoever, or like you're just out like at a brewery or something and like one of your friends is like, "Oh yeah, he does comedy." And then they're immediately like, "Oh, tell me a joke." And I'm like, this isn't a stage. I don't have a microphone." Like half the battle for a stand-up comedian is having control of the room.
mm,
And don't get me wrong, like I'll have my funny moments when I'm just out and about doing stuff, and some people might think you have to be funny all the time. I don't think that necessarily. Even for this, I was getting a little nervous. I was like, "Oh, wait a second, do I got to be funny right now?" Because I don't know.
yeah.
But yeah, usually when people are like, "Oh, tell me a joke," I'm like, "Oh, come to a show. If you come to a show, that's a lot better for me, and it actually helps everyone out a lot, and you'll get to an experience a lot better like moment of comedy than me just trying to tell you a joke right now. Because I've tried to tell the joke like right then, like you'll run into a group of girls who are like, "Are you like Matt Rife?" I'm like, "No, not really. I'm not really like Matt Rife." I mean, if you want to throw your bra at me, I guess that works, but like, because that's what happens to him. But
Yeah.
I'm like, no, yeah, no, I'm not really like him. I mean, maybe sometimes I'll do a little crowd work or something.
Right.
But and I have lied to him. Like, no, I am like Matt Rife. You should come to a show.
That's what I remember him from Wildin' Out. That's how I know who that is.
Right,
So
right.
so yeah, I don't know about you, man, Tommy. Like for me, I hate telling people what I do for a living, to be honest with you. Because as soon as I say therapist, somebody wants to tell me their life story. And
Oh
like they
yeah,
and like they expect me to help them with some type of advice. And it's like, oh God, I gotta think of an alternate career to say. So I was curious for you, as soon as you say this is what I do. I do comedy, or a friend tells somebody that you do comedy. It's like that instant, like it's like a light switch. Oh, let me ask him what about his job. Like, tell me a joke. Like that's what people
yep,
do. So
yeah.
yeah.
No, it definitely is like that. You can put on the spot a lot. And
Mm,
sometimes I'll have something like I just wrote that day and like fire it off quick. My usual, well, something I used to do a lot. My like defense mechanism to that was just to start roasting the person, and then they get mad, and you're like, "Well, you wanted me to be funny," so you start like picking on their shoes or something. Like, where'd
yeah,
you get those?
yeah. Which I would imagine is hard as hell nowadays. People are so sensitive. I feel
Oh,
like you got
so
to be
sensitive.
careful, like to start saying jokes and stuff.
Yeah, yeah, definitely very sensitive, and like, it's funny, but like a lot of the shows too, like people are scared to sit in the front row.
Hmm.
Like I have to like basically beg people, like, hey, these seats are open right here. Like you can come sit up front. Like we don't bite. Like we might talk to you a little bit, but no one's gonna like do anything too crazy. I don't know.
Yeah, I just thought, man, how funny would it be if a comedian started flipping the script and said, you know what I'm gonna start doing? I'm gonna start walking towards the back and start roasting people. That's what somebody should do.
I've actually seen that happen.
Oh
I'll
man.
shout him out. It's a comedian here in Charlotte, Sauce Got Jokes. I was doing a show at a cigar lounge with him, and I went up before. I didn't bomb, but I like was only talking to the front of the room. So the back room just wasn't vibing. Like the person before me
Mm.
and the host, they're like talking over them the whole time. And when I got up there, I have a couple jokes where like I shout and I can see them like turn their head, like what's going on over there. But he actually, the headliner, like went out in the crowd and started talking to people. It was pretty good.
Those people were probably nervous as hell when they started walking
Yeah, like
towards them,
what's he doing walking towards us?
for sure. So, as far as like these good and bad moments in comedy, man, like what's the impact that you've seen that it has had on like your self esteem and your like confidence when it comes to? Do you feel like it wavers with it, or are you able to keep it in a certain way no matter what the outcome is?
Yeah, that's something I've learned to do. I used to let it affect me like crazy,
Mm,
which still, I guess it still happens sometimes, but usually, like you go out and especially when you're like paid on a show, you're usually
mhm,
like, all right, you still want to put on a good show, but at the end of the night, you're like, okay, cool, I at least made a little money here. But at the same time, like how you're talking, like the highs and lows, um, I think about it like almost like a baseball player or a golfer. Like like a golfer, like you hit a bad shot, okay, like just go hit the next shot and make sure you don't like triple bogey this hole. Or like a batter, like you're on a slump or something like that. You just got to, keep stepping up in the box because if you know how good you are, you know how good you can be. That that shouldn't hold you back, and it's also something that I love to do. Like
mm,
I like getting up on stage and telling jokes, so it's not something I could see myself stop doing just because I had one bad night. And it's not something where I'll get too carried away on a good night that it will affect future shows either.
yeah. I tell you, man, it's good to hear this because I feel like the more I hear you talk, it's like there's a lot of similarities with just about every other profession as well. Like I talk so much about in therapy how important self care is. Like for me to show up, because I feel like a lot of times one of the similarities is like you play a role. Like when I turn on the screen, like nowadays it's all virtual really for the most part. But whenever somebody comes to see me, it's like I'm playing like a role. Like I'm the person that they are looking to for a certain thing. So no matter
Yeah,
what I have going on, I have to show up for them as this thing.
right.
So
That's
it's
true.
like in order for me to do that, I have to be like my best self. So if I'm not taking care of myself, it's going to be hard for me to show up for other people. So is that the same for you? Like, how important is self care and like off the stage? I guess taking care of yourself, and making sure when it's time to go on stage, you're in the right headspace.
Yeah, no, that's huge, and something that I like pride myself on with comedy is trying to bring like a good vibe, like
Mm,
because there can be a lot of negativity in any like field, you know,
yeah,
like people just have a bad day, maybe at work or something. Now they got to go. They're like, oh, I got to go do 5 minutes. It's like, no, you don't got to do it. You get to do this. This is fun.
yeah,
This is like you're here voluntarily. Everyone's having a good time. So like when I'm hosting, like I said, like I try to make sure check in with everybody, make sure everybody's good. Um, and oh man, I forget what you were just saying before that, but it was a really good point. It was like I guess people coming to you.
yeah. Just character I gotta play. Not a I don't want to make it sound like I'm faking, but it's just like it's a expectation of a role I gotta play for people when it's like time to do therapy. And I'm assuming
Yeah,
for a comedian, it's like okay, on no matter what I have going on, like I gotta show up as a comedian.
yeah, no, that's definitely a big part. And like days when I really, really am not feeling it, I just will remove myself from the situation. Like I'll like go watch and support other people, but I won't sign up to do it
Mm,
because I don't want to bring any like weird vibes or anything like that onto the stage with me.
yeah,
But yeah, no, all that like mental preparation that goes into it is super important, especially if you have a like a bigger show, like one that I produce and I know a lot of people are coming out. I'll even like take a day off of work so that way I can like go through the motions of having like a good day because
yeah.
anything can happen in your normal day-to-day life where when you get to the show you're like, "Oh man, like this happened or that happened." You got to throw all that away. So sometimes I'll just take a whole like mental health day, go on a walk with my dog or, order food that I really like and like make sure I'm like there ready and early, set helping the staff at the bar, set the chairs
Hmm.
up, do whatever I gotta do to make sure that like I feel good.
Yeah, for sure. And like, are there days where it like helps you? Because I know like there's sometimes I can have a session. Like there's clients I look forward to talking to that kind of I tell them, man, you like helping me today, coming just having that good vibe. But like also when there's like a session where I feel like it really was helpful for the person, I feel like I made like a
Yeah.
big difference. It's like a therapeutic feeling for it. I'm assuming for you, it's kind of like the same. If you have like a great set or it goes a certain way, there's like that feeling afterwards of like, man, that was good feeling.
Yeah, no, that's huge because like there's certain like there's one mic that I like to do. It's on Fridays also, but it's earlier than my show. It's at Common Market in South End,
Mm,
and that show has always has like a really good crowd. And I'll go up there and like try some new stuff out. I don't really know how it's going. You see some people laughing, and that feels good in its own right. And like when you step off stage and you feel good, you're like, wow, that went pretty well. But what feels even better than that is you see someone like an hour later, at another place, and they're like, hey, man, I saw you over at Common Market. You did a really good job over there. That was funny. Like people don't realize how far that goes when or even I had someone come to my show at Horseshoe and they're like, "Oh, I saw you somewhere else before. I thought you were really good." And I can hear him like telling his friends like, "Oh, he was one of the best ones ever." And I'm like, I'm like, smiling to myself. I'm like, all right, I clearly made a little bit of an impact here,
there you go.
and that like keeps the hope going for like moving forward and like because you never know how far you can take this thing.
For sure, and it's good that because the world we live in. I'm a victim of this too, so I don't want to make it sound like I'm not doing it. But you know how like you can do like I can have like one bad session, right? And all of a sudden in your
Yeah,
head you're like, man, I'm a fucking terrible therapist. Like I'm not helping anybody, and you forget all the other people that said, man, you helped me so much. Like you focus on the one bad moment and ignore all the good. So it's good to have those good ones and remember the moments where a person said like, man, you were really funny. You're one of the best ones because all it takes is one bomb, and you're like can get in your head and stuff like that.
yeah, no, definitely, and also like from the stage you can tell like if you're doing good or bad. Like you
Mhm.
have a pretty good view of the whole room. You can see if someone's checking their phone. Like that's the word when you see someone check their phone. Like if it's like a younger female, I'm like, all right, they probably just check their phone, save a phone addiction. But if there's someone who's like paying attention at the beginning and then like halfway through, they just like either walk over to get a beer or something like that. I'm like, dang, I thought I had that person. But when you have someone like sit all the way through and like this is something I've worked on a lot too because I used to just like pace back and forth and not really look at the crowd. That was like a huge weakness of mine for a long time. But now I have like points. Like I'll have like points in the room, whether it be a person or an object next to a person, so it looks like I'm looking at them. But when you're checking back in and you see that person again and they're still laughing, that's something that gives me a lot of like drive to keep going and like go for the next joke. Or if like a joke that I have like that has an extended part to it, like sometimes I won't try that extended part. I'll bail out and go to the next thing. But if it's really working, I'll try to take it a little further. So I
Got
don't
it.
know.
Yeah,
You
it's
just got to measure it as you go.
it's so funny because a lot of those are like when you're in college and you're in a public speaking class, they tell you to do some of that stuff, and it's so funny. It's like,
Oh, really?
yeah, like just like finding the one person to lock in on, or like an object
Okay.
in the crowd. Like, yeah, I tried to avoid that class for so long, but I couldn't get away from it in order to
I never
graduate.
took that.
You're lucky. I had to take that one, but yeah. So to kind of wrap things up, man, what do you feel like? We just talked about how all the common struggles with mental health that people deal with in the comedy world. I got a 2-part question for you, I guess.
Yeah. Do it.
Why do you think that is, like the common like struggles that they have, anxiety, depression? I feel like everybody has those nowadays, but like, why do you
Yeah.
feel like that is kind of a common thing? And then what would be your kind of tips or advice to help anybody in your shoes that's experiencing that?
Okay, so it's tough, like in comedy, right? So, because the main downfall for a lot of things these days is going to be social media.
Mm.
Now, if you're a comedian and you're trying to grow, or even you with this platform, you're trying to grow, you've got to have social media to at least showcase yourself or let people know when you're having dates, like sets coming up, and that can be a huge downfall. Like if you see like a negative comment or someone just being negative in general, even if it's like kind of like a subtweet situation where you see like another comic saying, "Oh, I hate when comics do this, that, and the other," or you bomb a set or whatever. Like these are all things that can enter your mind. Like, okay, are they talking about me? Or like, okay, the set didn't go well. Like that's going to affect my mood for the next like couple hours or whatever it might be. Um, that is something where I would tell people you got to have a very short memory. Like just because you had a bad set in one room, you could tell the same jokes in another room and it works. So you got to have a short memory. Maybe you tweak a couple things, not a big deal. And then with social media, I try not to look at anything besides like my DMs and like other people's posts, but I try not to like just sit there and scroll, and
Right.
especially don't read comments. And even DMs sometimes they can come off a little negative. So you just got to be careful what you're like intaking basically, because like anything else, if you eat a bunch of fast food, you're gonna get fat. If you listen to a bunch of negative thoughts, your brain is just gonna be way down in that, and it can make you like feel depressed, even though you're not. It's just you're in the moment. You got to have that short memory. And like my whole journey over comedy over the past 6 years, like if I judged every single set how I used to when I first started, I wouldn't have been still doing it right now. And so I keep telling myself that even with like shows that I host, if like I feel like enough people didn't come out, or maybe I stumbled over a joke, or something did bomb, even in the moment while you're on stage, just keep moving on, keep having that short memory, because you can get it back just as quick as you thought you lost it, even though people are really just focused on themselves and not you. Like, even if you're on stage telling jokes, as soon as you get off that stage, they're going to go back to feeling about their own lives, thinking about themselves, checking their phone, going through social media. So just don't put too much weight on those thoughts and move on. That's my advice for that.
That was good advice, man. That could be life advice too, not just for comedians, because I feel like it's
Okay.
so adaptable, because I think you hit it on the head with social media. How many times like
Yeah,
a person
it's
could
a
be
big
on
one.
TikTok and just doing a trend. Everybody does the trends. And it can be
Yep.
comments roasting them in there.
Yep.
Like it could, so I think it's good for people to hear in general, man. I think that was great advice, because the world we live in, this is kind of like, this is the cycle that we have. Like, this is what you have to do in order to promote or market yourself in any type of work that you do. You kind of like you got to use that as a tool, and then with that stuff comes with it. Like that, it comes with social media, and the way that a person manages it is very important. Meaning having that short memory, just being very selective, not taking it super serious. Because a lot of times, this is the crazy part. Is like it's like in my mind, what's on social media is not actually real life because.
Right.
Like 90% of the people who are saying those type of comments, if you met them in real life, they'd be the nicest people ever. Like they say all that just because they're either trolling or trying to be funny or just want some attention or something. But then you meet them in person, man, you were the best comedian I saw tonight, man. But it'd be the same person in the comments roasting you.
Yep. You're not wrong, dude. You're not wrong.
So,
oh my God.
So that was some good advice, man. I think it's a great way to kind of cap the episode here, man. I just want to say, man, I appreciate you reaching out. I appreciate you coming on, man. I loved hearing that. It was good to hear. Like I said, I've never heard that kind of perspective. I've always just seen and heard stories about, people who do comedy into mental health that's behind it, which I'm always intrigued about. But I appreciate you coming on and sharing that, man.
Dude, thanks for having me. I really appreciate it.
Of course, man. Listen, I always give everybody who comes on, man, it's an open door invitation. Anytime, that they want to come back. So maybe one day we'll have you back on here, buddy.
Heck yeah, you got to make it out to a show too.
Yes, for sure. Like, no, trust me. Once my girlfriend hears this, she's going to be the first one. Say, hey, we got to go to one of his shows now, especially at the South Carolina bar. That's where.
And they have 75-cent wings on Fridays. So just saying.
Oh, there you go. There you go. Well, my man, can you give the people one more time the social handle so they can go follow you, my man?
Yep. Instagram, I'm Tommy_Hornbuckle. On TikTok, it's Tommy Comedy_.
There you go. All right, people. Y'all heard it, man. Go ahead and give my boy a follow. And if you've been listening, man, I appreciate everybody who's out there listening. Go ahead and subscribe to the pod, social media, Right State of Mind Pod on all socials, man. Give your boy a follow, share the content. And until next time, man, get your mind right.